What is up, all of my YouTube friends? If you've been following my channel for the past couple of weeks, you might have seen that I attended Fantastic Fest here in Austin, Texas. It was a freaking amazing time. If you're a movie fan, especially the horror genre, but there's so many other genres that the festival has, but if you are a fan of film, it's a really great festival to attend. You get a chance to see a ton of films that you might not have, and there's also this secret screening aspect, and even though they sell out really quick, it's a lot of fun seeing big-time films before general audiences do. But obviously, being a creator and making videos like this, you kind of have to set boundaries for yourself, and I quickly realized that I wouldn't be able to do a review for every single film that I saw, you know what I mean? And so after thinking about it a little bit, I thought it would be a fun idea to at least give you guys my top 10 films of the festival. It's going to be my favorite films, but it's also the top 10 that I would just recommend coming out of this thing. But I'll go in order of like my hype level on these, so I'll start at 10 and then I'll work my way up to 1. And as for 10, I'm going to go with the film Never Let Go. This is a film by Alexander Aja starring Halle Berry, and this film is out now. Like literally right now, you could buy a ticket and go watch this in theaters, and I do suggest it. It's a fun time if you're a horror fan. It's got a very compelling story. It's this mother and her 2 sons. They're out in the woods. It's kind of this post-apocalyptic feel. Halle Berry turns in a really strong performance, and then the 2 sons, it's like 2 twins, these 2 young boys, they are really, really great. It's scary, it's tense, and there's definitely enough there to keep you intrigued throughout the entire thing. I had seen the trailers, and honestly, I wasn't too excited for this movie, but I was pleasantly surprised. So never let go, never don't go to the movies and see it. You should see it. But on to number 9, and this is the beauty of attending a festival like this. It makes me feel like when I was younger and we would go to like the mall or go somewhere and you'd see a movie poster and you'd be like, oh, I want to see that, but you didn't watch the trailer. Nowadays, I get so invested with these trailers and everything leading up to the film coming out that I know so much going in, and it was awesome sitting down, knowing nothing, and getting to watch this movie. So number 9, it's called Little Bites. This is a film written and directed by Spider-1. This is Rob Zombie's brother, really badass dude. The basic synopsis is, in a desperate attempt to protect her 10-year-old daughter, a young widow allows a nightmarish monster to slowly eat her alive. And this is a vampire movie, a very classic creature feature, and the vampire is very, very interesting to look at. I would say this film is a bit of a slow burn. It has a slower pace, and so I could see somebody maybe saying that this movie was boring, but to me, it really wasn't. There was enough here to sink my teeth into, if you know what I mean. But the performances are great. Again, the visual of this vampire is just so good, and it's just this weird, intimate, ominous movie that I'm not going to forget anytime soon. This film is going to be released in theaters on October 4th, so that's very soon. Check your local theaters for that just to see if it's coming to a theater near you. Other than that, it will be streaming on Shudder. I don't have the exact date when it will, but all you horror fans out there, you know the Shudder app, you know how much good horror is on there. This is going to be one that you're going to want to check out. But on to number 8, and if you've been keeping up with me over the past week, I actually did a full review on this movie. I did The Wild Robot for number 8, and I've already harped on it a lot. I've already talked about it a lot, but I do just want to reinforce, if you're looking for a very, very good animated movie, go see this movie. It's really emotional though, so, you know, kind of keep that in check before you walk in and know what you're heading into. This year is getting really competitive with Inside Out 2 as well as this and Transformers 1. It just feels like the animation category is thriving at the moment, and this film is so freaking good. It's a beautiful story. So go see it. I will put the link for my spoiler-free review down below, so if you want to hear about that more, that'll be there for you. But moving on to number 7, and this one is so much fun. House of Spoils. This film is coming to Prime Video on October 3rd. It tells the story of a chef who opens her first restaurant where she battles kitchen chaos, a dubious investor, and self-doubt. But the pressure heats up thanks to the spirit of the estate's previous owner who threatens to sabotage her. And so basically this is a film about witches and fine dining, one of which I know a lot about. I used to work in fine dining. I don't know much about witches, but I honestly don't want to give too much away about this movie. It is just so much fun. Ariana DeBose, Barbie Ferreira, it's got a great cast, a really fun feel, and it takes you in such an unexpected direction. It'll kind of have you losing your mind. But on to number 6, A Different Man. And this movie, as well as a couple of the other ones, is where the festival got really interesting for me, because there's a lot of fun horror movies that you're checking out, you're having a great time, but then something like this smacks you in the face. A Different Man is the story of a man suffering from neurofibromatosis, something that one of the stars in the film, Adam Pearson, suffers from, but basically this is Sebastian Stan. He has this disease, and we walk through this absolutely insane journey with him. And it's much more than just like a peek behind the curtain into, you know, the life of somebody that's living with this. This story is so well done and all over the place. Sebastian Stan turns in easily the best performance of his career for me. The score is beautiful, and the script is incredibly unique. I've never seen anything like it, and I don't think that I ever will again. For anybody out there that is a bit squeamish, there are definitely a couple parts in this that are a little bit wild, but I think that might be talked up a little bit too much. Like, it's nothing crazy. No, I'll just say it's manageable. But maybe, well, no, it is pretty messed up. Now, you'll be fine. It's fine. A Different Man is releasing, I believe, on October 4th in theaters here in the States as well as in the UK, so keep an eye out for that one. But on to number 5, we have a French film. This is titled Night Call. And in French, and I'm sorry about my pronunciation here, La Nuit se traîne. And the way that I described this after watching it is basically a French Die Hard, but the main character is a locksmith. This was another something that I knew absolutely nothing about going into it, and it was the definition of a thriller. It just goes from the start to finish. It's really well made. Something that I really, really want to shout out is the score. I don't know who this person is, but Tengai Destable, they absolutely crushed it. The stakes felt real the whole way through, and it just doesn't let up. That's what I loved the most about it. Kept me on the edge of my seat more than any other film that I saw on the festival, and that's awesome. But on to number 4, and this is a movie that I've already talked about here on my channel as well. I did an out-of-theater reaction immediately because I was so freaking blown away by it, and then I did a full review on it. This film is called Anora. It's starring Mikey Madison and directed by Sean Baker. You might know him from Red Rocket, Tangerine, different sort of films like that. Neon picked this thing up, and I'm so happy that they did. I had heard a lot about it, obviously. This won the Palme d'Or at Cannes Film Festival, and so highly praised. Mikey Madison's performance has been being highly praised, and I already had all of that going on in my head before seeing it, but somehow this movie managed to exceed all expectations. I've already said this, but Mikey Madison is absolutely going to shoot to the top of the nominations list when it comes to the Oscars this year. It's insane what she does in this film, but also just the film as a whole. There's so much dialogue going on the entire time, and that's what's impressive about Sean Baker. He places you in these situations, and you just have to live there for a while. It's way funnier than I expected it to be, but by the time that the weight of it all catches up with you, it gets really real. I'll link my spoiler-free review down below on this one as well if you guys want to check out more of my thoughts on it, but just a beautiful freaking movie. It's coming out in theaters October 18th. This is getting a wide release, so be sure to go check this one out. But moving on to the top 3, this is something that I know a lot of people are anticipating, and I felt lucky that I got to be there for the world premiere. This film is Terrifier 3. And what else is there to say besides Damien Leone is just a horror genius, man. I have my own thoughts regarding the first 2 Terrifier films, but going into this third one, I was just excited because I love the Christmas season. I knew that this movie was Christmas themed, and I should say, that Art the Clown was probably going to be dressed up as Santa. And it is just a holly jolly Christmas, man. It's so freaking good. This film did more for me than any of the other films in the franchise so far, and it absolutely sucked me in. Now I'm so excited for the future and where they're heading to. It sounds like they're just going to continue to make these movies, and Art the Clown is going to be around for a long time. So I don't know. I'm all in. This is easily my favorite Terrifier film. It's coming out in theaters in the US October 11th, so be sure to get out and see it, and then let me know your thoughts on it. But on to number 2, and I've been trying not to say with like a lot of these that this was like something that I was so surprised by, but it was easy to be surprised in this film festival because I didn't know a lot about a lot of the films that I was going into. But this was a secret screening. Nobody knew anything about it. Nobody knew what it was, and they announced that this film, Better Man, was about to be shown to us. This is a musical biopic about Robbie Williams, the British pop star slash superstar. It's directed by Michael Gracie, the guy who directed The Greatest Showman, and as a fan of musicals, I was pretty excited, but I didn't really know anything about Robbie Williams. And also people were saying that this screening was going to be Smile 2, so I was like, oh man, okay, well, we'll see what this is. And good God, this movie is unbelievable. It's unfreaking believable. And here's the catch. Robbie Williams is played by a CGI ape. There was a little tidbit before the film where they were talking about it and the reason behind that, and I guess Robbie Williams had this thing where like he pictured himself kind of that way coming up, or he always kind of was bashing himself and internally calling himself like an ape. And so you watch this insanely well put together film with this CGI ape that you absolutely just start to get used to. I was looking at like the adult version and being kind of jealous. I was like, yeah, dude, he's so cool. But the music is incredible, and a lot of that just comes from Robbie Williams and his collection. But Michael Gracie, what they did and what they managed to pull off with this, really scoring this movie and piecing everything together, piecing his life together, it's downright freaking awesome. Had it not been for one other movie, this would have been my favorite at the festival. It's a really great time. You know, the one hang up is musicals and biopics aren't for everybody. I would say if you're a fan of films like Across the Universe, if you're a fan of even like the Austin Butler Elvis, Baz Luhrmann's Elvis, or really if you're a fan of The Greatest Showman, this movie's absolutely going to be for you. Don't let any trailer that comes out with the ape or anything like that scare you away. Just go, sit down, have a great time with this movie, and enjoy yourself. As of right now, I believe this film is slated to be released in January or December. I don't know. Just continue to monitor that, and I'm sure whenever the trailers start coming out and stuff like that, you'll hear about it because it's such an insanely wild concept. But on to my number one, and this is a film that I have yet to review. By the time you're watching this, I might already have a spoiler-free review up on my channel. I'm definitely making a full video on it. But I'd say this movie is kind of similar to the last one, where there's just like some unique circumstances as to who's going to really be a fan of this film. Better Man is definitely going to resonate maybe a little bit more with musical people, and this film, Saturday Night, is definitely gonna resonate with you if you have any history with Saturday Night Live. This film comes to us and is directed by Jason Reitman, the son of Ivan Reitman, who has so much history with, you know, directing the Ghostbusters. He has history with a lot of these famous comedians, iconic comedians that came from this space. And so Jason, he talked a little bit before the film just about his history with it and just looking up to all of these guys. This is a project that he put a lot of heart and love into. It's basically documenting the 90 minutes prior to the very first show of Saturday Night Live. The very first live performance. I think that a lot of people will have a lot of fun in this movie. I think general audiences are just going to enjoy the hell out of it. People that aren't as familiar with SNL are going to get a cool look inside like 1970s show business and like the origins of sketch comedy and stuff like that. But then there's people like me that I was pretty much raised on Saturday Night Live, and it was honestly my dream to get on to Saturday Night Live. As a child, I had high regards for people like John Belushi and Chevy Chase and Dan Aykroyd and Gilda Radner. And ever since, I've always followed this show, and I've honestly learned so much more about it over the years, just about the process that every show goes through and how the formula of it really hasn't changed since this first show. Things have stayed very much the same throughout the years, and so that's what's so cool about getting this look inside. And somehow they cast a bunch of people that are so good and like eerily good at playing these people. It's downright hilarious, but it made me emotional just watching these actors perform, like John Belushi and Gilda Radner. It hits hard. But at the center of it all, obviously, is Lorne Michaels. Gabriel LaBelle plays him, and I'm not going to say much more than that. I don't want to give away like my whole review here, but he's just great, and this film is great. If you're a fan of Saturday Night Live, I think you're going to love it. And if you're less familiar with SNL, still go give this one a shot. There's going to be people that you recognize in there. You got Willem Dafoe, you got J.K. Simmons, Finn Wolfhard. It's worth checking out, and live from New York, it's Saturday night. But that's about all I got. I think I ended up seeing about 14 or 15 different films, so a couple didn't make the cut here, but those are my top 10. Please, if you've seen any of these, or if you end up seeing any of these, if you watch this video after the fact, like months from now, and you've gone and seen Anora, or you've seen Better Man, please let me know any and all thoughts that you have. I loved all of these, and I would just love to hear from different people about their experiences watching these. So yeah, guys, leave me a comment down below. Make sure you smash like before heading out. Subscribe if you're new here, and keep up the good vibes. Peace!